Welcome, welcome, welcome to Moral Monday, taking it to the streets. There were powerful, powerful actions today all over the country in more than 30 states where we were putting pressure on the senators in their home offices, making sure that they know our demands. And what are those demands? They're to end the filibuster. They're to pass all the provisions of the For the People Act. They're to restore fully the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and they're to raise now immediately the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And we put out to those senators in the history and under the principles of nonviolent direct action, where do you stand? Which side are you on? And we had some powerful actions. We're going to hear from people. We're going to see videos and images. But first, we want to make sure that we're grounded in this moment in some of the chants, the songs, and the vision of what we all are about with the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. So please stay tuned. Make sure that you go to action.poorpeoplescampaign.org throughout this broadcast. Make sure you're pushing it out to 10, 20, 100 friends, making sure that they log on and see the power that is building in the states across the country. And then make sure you sign up. You sign up to join us in Washington, D.C. on August 2nd as we continue to put the pressure on. But so before we get into those videos, before we hear from some of our state leaders, before we have a chance to move forward together, we want to introduce Lou Ayat, Peace Poets, who's been a powerful leader alongside of this movement from its inception. Lou, welcome, and we're so glad to have you. We're ready to be grounded with you right now.
Peace and blessings, family. Thank you, Reverend Liz. Peace and power to my people out there. I'm so grateful to be joining you today when People Power has been in the streets around the country. So shout out to all our people taking action. Wherever you are tonight, wherever you hear this message, I want you not to be shy about singing, singing when I sing. And if you need to shout out an amen or that's right where you are into the room you're in, you go ahead and do that. Because we need to remember that power of the people. We need to feel our spirit, because what we're doing here is about the truth. And so, speaking of the truth, we're going to get started with a song. Let this song ground us. So first and foremost, we are doing a song tonight. It's called For the People Song. In this moment, people are taking action for the People Act. And so that's why the words of the song go like this. We're going to sing them. We're going to speak them before we sing them. We're going to say, we the people are for the people. And for the People Act. We the people are for the people. Now will you have our back? And that's what our folks are saying to these senators, to these Congress folks out there. So then we're going to say this important part that the whole country needs to know. We won't ever let go of our hard-won freedom, our freedom to vote. So now you know the words to the song. I'm going to get us started with that song. I'm inviting you to sing it with me. Like I said, don't be shy. Fill up whatever room you are in with this song. Let's go. We the people are for the people and for the People Act. We the people are for the people, now will you have our back? Let's do that. We the people are for the people and for the People Act. We the people are for the people, now will you have our back? Hey, we won't ever let go of that hard-won freedom to vote. Try that with me. We won't ever let go of that hard-won freedom to vote. All right, now you got it. We know the whole thing. You've heard it. You've heard the melody. You know the words. I'm going to encourage you one more time to sing it with me. We're going to do it a couple times. You might want to move with it today. You want to move the way our people are moving. You want to speak that truth the way our people speaking the truth. Let's throw off all our shyness. Let's do it loud. Here we go. We the people are for the people and for the People Act. We the people are for the people, now will you have our back again? We the people are for the people and for the People Act. We the people are for the people now. Will you have our back? We won't ever let go of that hard one. Freedom, freedom to vote. We said we won't ever let go of that hard one. Freedom, freedom to vote. Come on. We the people are for the people and for the people act. We the people are for the people now. Will you have our back again? We the people are for the people and for the people act. We the people are for the people now. Will you have our back? We won't ever let go of that hard one. Freedom, freedom to vote. Like a promise. We won't ever let go of that hard one. Freedom, freedom to vote. And before we sing it one last time, what we need to do is know that this movement is building up to having that song being sung across the country by people fighting for everyone's right to vote. There's a huge thing happening right before the big action on August 2nd. 24 hours straight, we're going to sing that song, my people. It is a song for the people. And so you can check out hashtag song for the people, but tonight we're getting ready for that. So we're going to sing it one more time, and we're going to imagine the vision. The reason we're singing for 24 hours is because together we're going to come together and harmonize our voices. So that song is in the streets, that it's up in Congress, and it's in Congress's mind. That question of, will they have our back? So do it with me one more time. And then, of course, meet me in D.C. where we're going to do it together. But here we go right now, y'all. Last time we're going to do it through like we mean it. Everything we got. For all our people taking action, we sing. We the people are for the people and for the people act. That's right. We the people are for the people now. Will you have our back again? We the people are for the people and for the people act. We the people are for the people now. Will you have our back? We won't ever let go of that hard one. Freedom, freedom to vote. Last time, we won't ever let go of that hard one. Freedom, the freedom to vote. Love and respect. Thank you so much for singing with me. Yes, my people, we're going to keep singing hashtag song for the people. The Poor People's Campaign is ready. Back to you, Dr. Liz.
Well, thank you, Lou from the Peace Poets. It is powerful to be here this evening. And I want to now throw it to Bishop William Barber, who is in Arizona today, to hear about actions there, this call to action in Texas, what we're doing on August 2nd, and why we have to fight, why we took it to the states today, and why we're going to keep on fighting forward together and not one step back. Bishop Barber, it's so powerful to be here with you this evening. Thank you. Thank you for your leadership, and please take it away.
Well, first of all, thank you, Reverend Dr. Liz, and thank all the people, because we is the most important word in the justice vocabulary. Issue is not what I can do, but what we can do together. I'm on the telephone because we were trying to visit Senator's office today. You know, these senators have placed their offices in private buildings. We got to work on that. They're supposed to be accessible to the public, but they put themselves in private buildings. And so if you visit them to redress your government, then you get arrested for, if you sit in or sit down when they close the offices, you get arrested for trespassing. And so today, more than 39 people were arrested. People that look like every race, creed, and color in this country, along with Reverend Jackson, Barber Arwine, Kaya Newkirk, myself. We literally were put in handcuffs. But what we said is we got to get these shackles off of our democracy. That's the bottom line. And all over the country, once again, you Poor People's Campaign, you have shown how to really do organizing from the bottom up. And all over the country simultaneously, you've acted out today. And it's bubbling up throughout the media. That's what it needs to do because it's putting pressure. And we are going to sing that song about the We the People and about our right to vote. And we're also going to sing Somebody's Hurting Our Brothers and Sisters. And we're going to add the things because remember, we never focus on just one issue because there's never one issue. So what are our issues today? You got to end this nasty filibuster. It's like a cancer on the body politics, non-constitutional, interposition nullification. We got to pass the For the People's Act, all the provisions. I did a teaching today I'm going to do later on this week when we're marching from Georgetown to Austin about what's really in the For the People's Act and what people are saying when they block it. I don't care what party they're in, what they're standing against. And then we got to call for the passing of the Voting Rights Act. And remember, the Voting Rights Act has not yet been written. The Voting Rights Act restoration has not yet been written. So when somebody like Manchin or somebody says, well, I'm for that, I'll probably break the filibuster for that, we can't trust that because he was also a co-signer on the For the People's Act. But as soon as it was possible to bring it to the floor, all of a sudden he's more interested in what the U.S. Chamber of Commerce has to say than the United States Constitution. And then we're saying pass 15 now, 15 now, 15 now, living wage, and then protect our immigrant brothers and sisters. And all of you on this call, always hold all of these together. It's never just about one issue. As Dr. King taught us and so many others in Selma to Montgomery March, he said that voting rights were connected to economic justice. Those who suppress the vote are also afraid of people uniting and changing the economic architecture of the country. And so we're here. I've been looking all over, Liz, at what's going on live stream. I'm actually here. We're headed to the airport now to meet you in Texas on tomorrow. And tomorrow we have a press conference at 5. Wednesday morning at 7, we start a historic march from Georgetown, Texas, where in the 1930s, a white woman took on the stronghold of the Ku Klux Klan and said, I'm not with you all. And where the Ku Klux Klan was first found guilty in this country out of Georgetown, Texas. It was a hotbed of the Klan. And we're starting that march bright and early Wednesday morning. We'll go for about 5 hours because of the sun, because of COVID. Then the next day, and then the next day. And then on Saturday, a massive rally to nationalize what's going on in Texas. 13 million poor and low-wealth people in Texas. 5 million people make less than a living wage. Texas is the least insured, the hardest to vote, and the most underpaid state in the country. But it's not about Texas alone. We have to lift up Texas as we nationalize Texas to demand federal action. Don't ever forget the March on Washington. What's not told is that day of the March on Washington, there were people in 220 cities who were engaging in action all over the country. And we might need to think about that again. If people may say, those that may go to Washington later on, but we may need to have marches in every state capital around this country because it's not that we got to build from the bottom up. And when we come on this Saturday, next Saturday, that's what it's going to be about. We've got some interesting dynamics, things that have already happened. Lucy Johnson is coming out. She's in retirement. The daughter of Lyndon Baines Johnson. She was there when the pen was handed to Martin King, the signing of the Voting Rights Act, and to Dirksen, the Republican senator, who said we have to join with this Democratic president to do right. Where are the courageous Republicans today? Willie Nelson has said, I got to come. I got to call on all my brothers and sisters in country music because these bills are hurting all of us, and we're getting calls every day. But most importantly, in Austin, it's poor and low-wealth people will be taking that stage, and people who have disabilities, and the LGBTQ community, and our Native community, and the Latino community, Black and brown. Why? Because we is the most important word in the justice vocabulary. And we're saying all of this should be done by August 6th. And if it's not, then we don't lose. We just know we got to intensify. It's all the more reason why we've got to build out the Mass Poor People's Low-Wage Workers Assembly Mall March on Washington, June 18th. It's all the more reason why we've got to have massive litigation and massive voter registration and massive nonviolent direct action and meaningful legislation. What we're simply saying about August the 6th is it's shameful that if we pass August the 6th without these things being done, then we will continue to remain a country that has less voting rights today than we had on August 6, 1965, when the Voting Rights Act was signed. We're not tired. We're tired of foolishness, but we're not tired of fighting, because giving up on the possibilities of this democracy and our children's future is non-negotiable. There's no moderate position in what we're facing now. Either you're with justice or you're against justice. Either you're with living wages for workers and the voting rights, or you're not with. There's no moderate position. Don't be fooled. There's no moderate position. Moderate, as William Lloyd Garrison says, don't come to me about moderation when it comes to talking about fundamental constitutional rights. He once said, go tell a woman whose child is burning up in a house to be moderate. Go tell a man whose wife is being ravished to be moderate. But don't ever talk to me about being moderate when it comes to justice, because we will be heard and we will speak, and ultimately we will win. God bless to all of you all. I got to drop the phone to get on this plane, and thank the poets for what you do and for coming on. Let's sing together. Let's stand together. Let's speak up together. Let's serve together. And most of all, let's go forward together and never take one step back.
That's right. That's right. Thank you to Reverend Dr. William Barber, President of Repairs of the Breach and co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome to Moral Mondays, taking it to the states. We are about to get a real treat. We're going to get to watch powerful actions from below, from states, more than 30 states across the country, people. That's how many people were taking action, demanding. So right now we're going to start with Arizona. This powerful action we heard a little bit from Reverend Barber about already. We want to be there, experience it. And while we're watching, make sure that you're going to action.poorpeoplescampaign.org and signing up to join us in Washington, D.C. on August 2nd for a Moral Monday led by faith leaders and low-wage workers, where we continue to demand these 4 demands in this season of nonviolent moral direct action. So we're going to watch what's going on and what took place in Arizona, and then we're going to hear from more states. We're going to see more videos. We're going to see more photos, and we're going to see the kind of power that we're building, the power to make those in power say yes, even though they've been saying no to our demands for far too long. So let's see this video.
Good morning, Arizona. Come on, let's give it up. Let's give it up for Arizona. How many here for justice? How many here for the People Act? For the John Lewis Act? For the $15 minimum wage? To get Senator Sinema to act right?
Now, if you believe that it is time to put voting rights in our democracy before a Jim Crow relic like the filibuster, say it's time. If you believe that it's time for Senator Kyrsten Sinema to listen to the people who elected her and help us end the filibuster, say it's time.
They asked the question of me, why am I leaving D.C. to come to Arizona? And I tell them, you go where the fight is going on. Arizona got fight in them. And there's fighting to do.
And the right to vote is critical. Senator Phil Sinema, we will be at your office today because the world needs to know that the spotlight is on you. It's your action that's needed.
And we are telling her she is wrong. We deserve better. We deserve more. We deserve a sense of urgency. Senator Sinema, you didn't get elected so you can turn your thumb down to the people in Arizona. You got elected to make a difference for the people of Arizona.
if you want to get started in making a difference, the first thing to do is to stop the filibuster.
This civil court, this Supreme Court.
This Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court is not morally supreme. We have the power to change the legislature. The senator from Arizona, let's stand up. Stand in the filibuster. 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 In the filibuster.
That it was Sinema and Manchin and them that said no. Remember the big thumb? To $15 living wages. Now, in Arizona, there are 3.3 million poor and low-wealth people.
In Arizona, you got to work 70 hours at a minimum wage to afford a basic 2-bedroom apartment. And in Arizona, 46% of your workforce doesn't make 15. 1.2 million people.
Outrageous.
That's what your senator is filibustering. And you ought to say, heaven no. See, heaven no is stronger than hell no. Because heaven no got power. Heaven no got anointing. Heaven no got justice. Heaven no got love. Heaven no got help from another quarter. Heaven no will keep you strong. Heaven no has won before. Heaven no is what kept Martin King. Heaven no is what kept Fannie Lou Hamer. Heaven no is what kept those boys that marched in Freedom Summer. Heaven no is what kept Bob Moses. I ain't got to fight with your warfare. I got my own weapons. Heaven no will get you up in the morning. Heaven no will make you march. Heaven no will keep you going even when you get older. Heaven no will give you strength you didn't know you had. Heaven no will bring black and white and brown and native together. Somebody ought to say, heaven no. Let's march. Let's say this. Say, end the filibuster. Pass the 40 People's Act. Pass the Voting Rights Act when it's written. Pass 15. Living wage. Right now. Pass immigrant protection. Right now. Pass DC statehood. Right now. Stop these state legislatures. Right now. Give us federal election laws. Right now. Somebody say right now. We want all our rights. We want them right now. Forward together. Not one step back. Forward together. Not one step back. We will march. We will stand. We will fight. We will speak. If necessary, we will go to jail. But right now, I feel something right now. I hear justice right now. I hear power right now. I hear change right now. Come on, let's march. Right now. Right now. Right now.
The real deal now is when we move her numbers, we must have the ability to elect a senator who speaks for us. So we must have the ability. To speak for. People.
The people.
Have the ability. To elect a senator. That represents our interests. Our interest is fair. And just. So let's leave here. Organized. 100 people. Organized precinct by precinct. With the people. We win. Let's get ready to go ahead.
All right. We're going to sit down here, so we refuse to leave until Senator Sinema meets our just demands. Is that right? Yes. In the spirit of Dr. King, in the spirit of John Lewis and all the others, Reverend Jackson, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Ella Baker. Bob Moses, who we lost yesterday, Diane Nash, and so many. We're going to sit here in that nonviolent tradition. We refuse to leave until Senator Sinema meets our demands in the spirit of good trouble. Is that right?
That's right.
We're here in love. Is that right?
That's right.
We're here for truth. Is that right?
Yeah.
We're here for justice. Is that right? And freedom.
Freedom.
And we will not turn back. We will not turn back. We will not turn around. We will not turn around. We will not give up. We will not give up. So we're going to sit down in that spirit non-violently here together in good trouble.
Turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on freedom way.
Let Donald Trump
Turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let Donald Trump turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking.
I'm Sergeant Larry Dotson with the City of Phoenix Police Department. If you do not plan on being arrested, we ask you to vacate the property at this point. That includes the media. So everybody here is willing to be arrested, including the media?
How about up here?
Why you gonna arrest me?
Off the property entirely on the City of Phoenix public right-of-way. This is open.
And yes, indeed, we do have to end the filibuster now. We have to pass all the provisions of the voting right of the For the People Act. We have to restore the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and we have to have a minimum wage increase to $15 an hour immediately. And that's what happened in Arizona. It's what happened in 30 states across the country for Moral Mondays, taking it to the states. We want to show some more clips, some more video of the powerful actions that took place across the country, led by Poor People's Campaign state leaders, moral leaders, clergy, poor and impacted people, advocates, activists, folks across all the lines that divide us in this country who are coming together and building a season of moral, nonviolent direct action. And so we're going to watch some videos. Make sure that you're pushing this live stream out. Make sure that you have 5 or 10 or 20 or 100 of your friends that are joining in, logging on, seeing the power that is building in this movement, and then signing up to come to Washington, D.C. on August 2nd for our Moral Monday there, because we have to keep this pressure up. So we're going to watch some of these videos, and then we're going to hear from some of the state leaders that led us in these actions today. We can't go to all of them, but we can have some folks come to you to share what's going on. And so let's see the first set of actions that includes powerful states like California and like Kentucky.
This is what democracy looks like, and this is what nonviolent protesting looks like. Okay? I went down to the Capitol. I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity.
Captain of the tennis team. He's compassionate. And they kept him in a jail cell. But he's had 20 years of video game playing, and he has been to Paris and and done things for other people. And he wasn't crying like a lot of the black people that I heard crying for their mamas in the jail when I was arrested. You know, I heard them there going, "Mama!" I said, "That's not right. I hear that, and I'm going to do something about it."
Somebody's hurting our people, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore.
That's right.
I want to talk about the filibuster, the minimum wages.
We're here to urge Senator Warnock to continue his strong efforts to press for a vote on for the People Act and the John Lewis Act.
We're trying to get policies passed to represent all the people. We're going to start from the bottom, and we'll all rise together.
When our democracy and the rights and lives of the poor and low-wage workers are in peril, to talk of compromise with these extremists is economically insane, and it is a grave form of political malpractice.
End the filibuster.
Yeah.
Pass all provisions for the Poor People's Act.
Yeah.
Fully restore the 1965 Voting Rights Act.
Yes.
And raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Forward together.
In 1965, like today, there was U.S. senators using the filibuster to block passage of this important legislation.
Now is the time. Protect the sacred and pass the People's Act.
I'm old enough to remember when the Voting Rights Act was passed. I remember many of us being on the streets for the Voting Rights Act, and we thought when it was passed that was the end. And now they're trying to erode it in ways that we never dreamed of.
Our fight is not just about the black or about the white. It's the attack on the people of every race.
The only way we can restore our nation's soul is to find the moral strength to do what is right.
Yeah.
Rather than identifying ways to minimize the number of people who can vote, we should be striving to maximize voter participation.
Yeah. Fight until equality comes. We're gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
We are not afraid. We will stand for liberation, 'cause we know why we remain. Not afraid. We are not afraid. We will stand for liberation.
We need to be ready with folks and with folks that are willing to do the hard work.
We know why we are made.
It's beautiful and powerful to see these little pockets of justice. Like, we want them to not reform, but to end what? Do we want them to end what?
Okay, it's policies like a $7.25 minimum wage that put people in poverty and keep them there.
Ho, ho! The filibuster has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The filibuster has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The filibuster has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The filibuster has got to go! Hey, hey!
Hey, hey, ho, ho. That filibuster has got to go. Did you see all of those powerful actions? From Oklahoma to Ohio, from Alabama to Arkansas, from Georgia to California. We had folks out there. The Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, showed up strong, putting pressure on these senators. And now we want to hear from some folks that were out there. Tell us a little more about how it went, what went down, what the actions looked like. So I first want to bring on Linda Leong from California. We just saw the powerful actions in Los Angeles and in Sacramento. Linda, thanks so much for being here. Tell us what today was like.
Hi, Reverend Liz. Can everybody hear me okay?
You sound great.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. So my name is Linda. I am representing impacted workers from the San Francisco Bay Area. So there was a really great group of people today, led by leadership from the Poor People's Campaign from Sacramento and also from Oakland and other parts of the Bay Area. And that we showed up in force outside of Senator Feinstein's office in San Francisco to give her our list of demands. We know that she has defended the filibuster in the past, and so we especially wanted to drive home that point that we want her to abolish the filibuster in order to get our other demands met. There was a very strong group of about a dozen people or so that put themselves on the line and held up a real large banner outside of her office in front of the Senate building. And we, led by Virginia, and had a lot of chants, and the energy was really good the whole time. And nobody was arrested, and it was all very peaceful. And we actually saw a group of folks who had an appointment with Senator Feinstein earlier today. We're not exactly sure what group these people represented, but they actually presented a similar list of demands to her staff, like the ones we have. While they were meeting with Senator Feinstein, they actually recommended that the staff come downstairs and talk to our group in the Poor People's Campaign. And so one person came and talked with our leadership, and he was very receptive to us being there. And he pressed us to keep doing what we're doing and to make our voices heard, and that Senator Feinstein will listen to what her constituents are saying, and that this is exactly what we need to do to make democracy work. And so we showed up and to Senator Feinstein, which side is she on? Thank you.
Well, thank you. That is powerful. And we know that folks are rising up across California. There was also an action in Los Angeles where I know about 4 moral witnesses were arrested in front of crowds of many, again, coming together across these lines that divide, making sure that we're putting pressure on our senators to do the right thing. Now, we know that this all can happen by August 6th. We've made our demands known. We were there at the Senate offices in their home states today. Last week, we had women organizing and protesting and marching in Washington, D.C. On the 2nd, we'll have low-wage workers and faith leaders and so many people from across the country, because we know that there's not a scarcity of ideas or legislation. It's all there. We just have to be able to build the political will to make it so. And so thanks so much from California, powerful actions. And now I want to go to Kentucky, because we know that we have a lot of pressure to put on some of our Kentucky senators. And so I want to invite Jeremy Porter. Please share with us what went down in Kentucky. How are people feeling? And are we going to be able to keep on pushing and building the kind of power it's going to take to win our demands in Kentucky and across this nation?
Yeah, thank you, Reverend Liz. Today in Kentucky was powerful. We were in Bowling Green at Senator Rand Paul's office, and we were in Lexington at Senator Mitch McConnell's office. And in Rand Paul's office, a group of 4 folks sat in for several hours demanding that he give us a response and go on the record to our 4 demands, while dozens of people outside were chanting and singing and holding support down for them. And after hours and hours of sitting in and waiting, the staff member came back with 4 simple one-word answers. No to $15 an hour minimum wage. No to ending the filibuster. No to fully restoring the 65 Voting Rights Act. How can you be against the Voting Rights Act? No to the For the People Act. And so we know that Rand Paul does not give a whit about poor and low-income folks in Kentucky. In Lexington, Senator McConnell's office was unoccupied. There was no one there. We asked for a meeting. They said there would be no one there for a 5-hour period of time that we asked for, and nobody was going to be there. And so we raised our voices, we presented our demands, and we recognize that Senator McConnell and Senator Paul only hold power in Kentucky because they are able to suppress the vote, because of the kind of policies they're able to pass. We see how it's connected in Kentucky. We see that that in 2020 that there were 680,000 poor and low-income voters in Kentucky, and that in 2016 Rand Paul won by 217,000 votes, and in 2020 Senator Mitch McConnell won by 420,000 votes. And so we know that if we can sweep this filibuster out of here and give everybody equal rights, equal access to voting through these two provisions about voting rights, and if we can show that that poor people's issues are front and foremost in politicians' minds, and we can bring the power of the people to say that $15 an hour minimum wage counts, and that's what everybody deserves and needs at the very least, then we can actually get these folks out of office. We can energize and engage the base here in Kentucky and turn out these 680,000 poor and low-income voters to show that these senators do not represent the people of Kentucky.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, both to the power that you're building, but then to get that 5 hours of waiting without people there, to get those 4 no's back to our demands, but to have this uprising, this moral resurrection of people from Kentucky, poor and low-income people from Kentucky, moral leaders, clergy, advocates, activists who are coming forward to say, you know what, we are an unleashed power, and we are going to keep on building and keep on organizing and moving forward together and not one step back. We had amazing actions all over the country, and we have some more videos, some more powerful shots and pictures and photos and capturing some of the songs and the energy that was all over the country today that are still they're still building and organizing now. And again, while you watch this, feel the power, feel the energy, and make sure you sign up to join us in Washington, D.C. on August 2nd for a Moral Monday then. So let's see these other states, and then after those states, we'll hear from more powerful leaders like Linda, like Jeremy, but from other states that are organizing and moving forward together, not one step back.
It is critical that voting rights be supported and expanded. If everyone votes, these guys cannot win, and the Poor People's Campaign will not give up until everyone is allowed to vote.
The purpose of this season of action is to strengthen the resolve of our allies to stand up against these injustices and to challenge the capitulation and inaction of those who have proven themselves to be adversarial to voting rights, economic justice, and the very foundations of our democracy.
Somebody's hurting my sister, and it's gone on far too long. Well, it's gone on far too long. It's gone on far too long. Well, somebody's hurt.
So we are going to head inside, and we are going to place our demands at your door.
Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching on the freedom. Everybody's got a right to live, and before they can fail, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to live. Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? We're on the freedom side. Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? We're on the freedom side.
Democracy is being intentionally undermined.
Democracy, which we've never fully attained yet, is now crumbling to pieces.
In the halls of power and in our nation's highest court, wealthy elites with a vested interest in clinging to minority rule are actively undermining American democracy.
Yes, we are going to deliver this letter, and we are going to move forward and not one step back.
Everybody has a right to live.
Everybody saw the government looking at black people and people that supported the minority vote as a villain to the system. Fast forward to 2021, Kentucky has enacted 3 new restrictive voting laws.
Wrong, it's so wrong.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
All workers need a raise.
That's right.
Pass the filibuster.
That's right.
Pass the For the People Act.
Yeah.
Restore the Voting Rights Act.
Yes.
Defend democracy.
Yeah.
Somebody's hurting poor people, and it's gone on far too long. It's gone on far too long. I tell you, it's gone on far too long.
Powerful actions. And now I want to have Reverend Barber speak to us again.
Liz, one of the things I wanted to say to people just before getting on this is I'm looking at some of the videos and remind you that when we do direct action and you get a no, I appreciate the brother telling us that from Kentucky. That's not a bad thing. First of all, that's the point sometimes, to get people to say clearly what they haven't said so they don't have that political two-speak or double-speak and folk know what's going on. Also, when they say no, that should embolden our resistance and intensify our agitation. And it's about clarity. You know, one of the things we're clearing up, and I wanted to remind folk of something. You know, we've got to ask ourselves a question. Why did they name the Voting Rights Restoration Act the John Lewis Voting Rights Restoration Act, and it hasn't even been written? Think about that with me, Liz. He wrote the For the People Act. There is no Voting Rights Restoration Act. It hasn't come out of committee. So the only game in town is the For the People's Act. And when you hear politicians say, well, I'll probably support the Voting Rights Act, I can't support restoration, I can't support the For the People's Act. That's Washington double talk. Because for instance, Manchin signed on to the For the People's Act, but he signed on to it when McConnell was leader and he knew it wouldn't come to the floor. Now that Schumer is leader, he's listening more to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce than to the U.S. Constitution. We as a movement have to be clear on stuff like this. We have to be very clear of what's going on. Why did they block 15? We got it all the way there, and then they blocked it because they're listening more to U.S. Chamber of Commerce, to the people, and that's why the people have to speak. And understand, you may get an arrogant no, but the very fact that they finally answer you lets you know that the pressure is bothering them, they don't like it, and what we've got to do is keep it up. And on this matter, the For the People's Act, you're going to get a listing out probably today or tomorrow. Liz and I are going to do a little piece from Texas. Because even when you say For the People Act, you need to know what you're fighting for. It's more in that bill than people realize is in it. And when you see what's in the bill, you understand why you have Republicans and some Democrats that don't want it. And we got to start calling them out and saying, if you're against the For the People's Act, then you must be for dark money controlling our election. If you're against the For the People's Act, then you must be for people ending same-day registration and early voting and drop boxes and ensuring that Native American people can vote. You can't have it both ways. And our movement is a movement, and I want to say in all of our partners, because we didn't do this alone, 20-some partners decided with us we needed to do National Moral Mondays across this country. And then let me remind you, it took us, it's not going to take us this long, but it took 2 years of Moral Mondays, every Monday, people getting arrested every week in North Carolina to beat them, and a legal case, beat the extremists. And so we're not in this for the short term. We're in this for the long haul. And I want to thank God. I've been listening, almost brought to tears, just thinking about the powerful leadership that all of you all have, and how many people have told us what we can't do. And then you turn around and do not only what folks say we can't do, but even more. So keep on fighting. Every answer, we needed it. We need them on the record so we can stay on the. We need, and the old folks say we need it. We need them on the record so we can keep them on the run. God bless you. Take care.
That's right. They got to be on the record so that we can keep them on the run, and we are building the kind of power to make them run. I'm going to bring on two powerful freedom fighters, the kind of freedom fighters that Reverend Barber was just saying we need and we have so many of. I want to have folks from Maine join us, Aubrey Trout and Mindy Bargeron Lawrence. Thanks so much for being here. Tell us about the powerful movement that's growing up in Maine and why we need these 4 demands.
Yeah, so we, excuse me, it was a powerful day. We had a press conference ahead of heading into Senator Susan Collins' office in Portland, her Portland office. And Mindy spoke at the press conference, and she's going to come right back and she's going to go over kind of what she spoke to. I led music, and there were a number of people showed up. It was really great. A lot of people stopped and wanted to know what was going on. And it turned out that many people really were interested and stopped and spoke with us. So that was neat. And then a bunch of us headed into Senator Susan Collins' office, and one of her higher staffers, I'm going to say, we presented our questions and said we had the questions. And at first it was, the senator is not available. The senator is not available. And then it was, well, we'll take your information and we'll get back to you with, any answers you want. And we said, no, we'd like answers today. And then it was, well, would you all like to see her press releases on any of these subjects? And I'll look them up and see if there are any answers for you. And then it was, we were there for 4 hours. 4 hours, I guess. Yeah. And then it was, well, I've been on the phone with Washington and we're going to get back to you instead. At which point we said, well, let me get this right. And of course, the double speak was the pivoting, and the double speaking was quite something in that office today. We really got the runaround.
Yes. And no answers.
And no answers, no. And so we stayed. 4 of us got arrested today. But I want to make sure Mindy gets in here on the press conference. As you spoke today, you want to talk about what you spoke to?
Oh, yeah. So during the press conference, I spoke about how I've worked at McDonald's for 18 years and I still don't make, I don't make a living wage. And, what my coworkers go through, and a lot of us don't have vehicles because we get paid so little, and people ride their bikes and walk to work and all that. So that was my piece in the press conference.
And I want to make sure I get this in because it really, really bothered me today. This comment that this staffer made. One of our folks who didn't end up getting arrested but was there up until, we were talking about how she doesn't hold town halls. And this staffer said, well, the senator doesn't believe it's an effective way of communicating with the constituents. We said, well, perhaps her constituents believe that it's an effective way to talk to her constituents. And we were kind of talking about time and scheduling, you can make an appointment. And this gentleman who was with us kind of mentioned that. And she said, well, if you have time for a town hall, you have time to make an appointment. Okay. All right. But all in all, though, it was a beautiful day. We sang throughout, from the beginning till the end, I'd say, and didn't get any answers, which is disappointing, but not totally unexpected from Susan Collins' office.
Well, thank you to these powerful leaders in Maine. Because what we know is that the power of people coming together, whether it's in town halls or in protests or in marches or in the kind of community that we're building in this campaign and across this country, is the kind of power, collective power, that it's going to take to be able to find out where people stand, ask the question, which side are you on? And then keep on pushing until we win all, not just one or two, all of our demands. We got more states to come from to see the powerful actions. I'm going to have us go right into some more of those videos. Make sure you're pushing this out, telling people all about the power that's building, and then we'll hear from more leaders from other parts of the country.
Turn me around, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We'll keep on walking, walking up to freedom land. 0.1% of the people, and their own men, their own place, own up to 80% of the national wealth. That's not democracy. That is not democracy. All these talking heads are saying, we have to save our democracy. You don't have one. You don't have one.
Here's the thing. In the nation, nationally, we spend more than $30,000 a year to house a single prisoner, but we will not spend $15 an hour to give a fair living wage. What does that say about our nation? That we care more about putting somebody behind bars, especially those for small offenses, just to fill the prisons, to work for corporations for free or for 10 cents an hour.
Fight poverty, not the poor. Not the poor. Not the poor. Not the poor. Not the poor.
Organization called the 515, been with them for 7 years. So today I'm here with my friends from the Poor People Campaign to deliver this letter to Senator Tim Scott, debating 4 things. End the filibuster, pass for the Poor People Act to protect voting rights, restore the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. These 4 demands are necessary steps for saving our democracy. Delegations like this one are visiting Senate offices in more than 40 states today because we believe the choice is simple. We can choose democracy or autocracy. Which side will you be on, Senator Tim Scott?
Okay. Now, can you put some contact information on it so we can absolutely pass it on? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Right behind you. Yeah. And I'll pass it up for y'all. Thank you. And y'all pass these around and take one of my cards on so it can be a service.
Keep our home in perfect peace. Forward together. Not one step back. Forward together. Not one
So I want to bring up Carlos Rodriguez from Illinois, because I want to know what you all were doing in Illinois today, as well as people doing stuff all over the country. Carlos, welcome. So glad you're here. Tell us about the power you're building.
Thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Liz, and thank you for my brothers and sisters all around the country. I'm so inspired tonight. Yes, again, Carlos Rodriguez from the Poor People's Campaign of Illinois. What you saw in the last video, we had some fun. We say we need to have justice with joy, kiddo, right? You got to do that, right? And so we put this system on trial and the verdict was clear, right? The current system is guilty, right? We had a prosecutor, she attempted the best she could to defend the system. She had no chance today, right? We had people walking up to us going, what in the world are these guys doing? You notice that we put some, our demands on the U.S. Senator's office window. So we had the offices of U.S. Senators Durbin and Duckworth that were there. You might have seen the guards behind the windows. Actually, one of the guards came out and said, what in the world is going on? He came up and asked me. I told him about what we were doing. He goes, I'm all for that. Come on inside and put them on the inside, because some of the staffers come in during the daytime sometimes because of COVID. And so we ended up by just saying, we had this, as our testifier said, the system is guilty of perpetuating systemic racism, right? We know that. It's guilty of perpetrating systemic poverty, guilty of attacking our most fundamental rights, right? To vote, to have a decent place to live, a decent wage, right? We had the Chicago Union of the Homeless with us, and we really tied it up really together by making sure that our voice is real clear. The media was there, so we'll be on Fox tonight and other stations, but again, it's pretty clear that sometimes you got to have some fun as you're pushing your demands forward. So I'll end by just saying, of course, we know that the system breeds and allows poverty, and they're the ones that are perpetuating it. They're the real criminals, and let's hold them. Let's hold these senators to upholding our 4 demands. Thanks, Reverend Liz.
Thank you, Carlos. And we will move forward together, not one step back. That's the power of nonviolent direct action, right? You get the security guards to come and let you in to be able to make your demands even more clear, even more prominent, seeing it across the buildings, across the place. We got one more set of videos. And I want to point out, when you watch this next set, notice the diversity of people. Notice the diversity of states. Notice that all those videos say earlier today. This happened today, y'all. This happened because in more than 30 states across the country, people came together and said, we got to end this filibuster. We got to pass the For the People Act. We got to restore the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And we have got to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And we're going to keep on pushing, keep on building, keep on putting our senators on notice, finding out which side are they on. And then when we hear the answer, or when we don't hear the answer, keep on pushing to be able to push them to the side of justice, the side of freedom. So let's watch this last set of videos. We're going to have one more testifier share with us, and we're going to get ready to keep on taking action together.
Voting rights. What do we want? Voting rights. When do we want it? Now. When do we want it? Now.
Voting rights act. We do not compromise. We are not compromising.
Right.
Number 4, raise the federal minimum wage to $15. He doesn't want to be seen with us anymore. No, it's hot. It's hot.
Okay. So we're here with the Poor People's Campaign, and it's not just one organization, huh? I just don't want to leave everyone out, and I know you said you don't want to have more people out in here. And so with the Poor People's Campaign, the National Call for Moral Revival, we're joined by dozens of partners, over 40 state coordinated committees and thousands of faith leaders that have announced the seasons of nonviolent direct action. And we're asking that Rubio and the filibuster pass the All Provisions for the People Act, fully restore the 1965 Voting Rights Act, raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. So in halls of all power and our nation's highest court, wealthiest elites, with a vested interest in clinging the minority rule, actively undermining American democracy.
Indeed, we're hearing that powerful open letter that thousands of people called in, wrote in, and made sure that our senators and the White House are aware that we are fired up and we're not going to take it anymore. Before we close off this broadcast, we want to make sure we hear again why it is that we must defend this democracy, why we must rise up for economic justice. And so I'm going to invite Terry Neal from Florida to speak to us about why this matters to you, why these issues are in front of us, and why we have to, and why you are a part of an effort to take action now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Liz. My name's Terry Neal. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm affiliated with a couple of progressive groups here in this area. And I want to share my experience with voter suppression. On election night 2012 in Jacksonville, Florida, here where I live, another Black volunteer and I went to a polling place to ensure there were no problems. As my fellow volunteer approached the door, the white poll deputy outside looked at us with disgust. Without saying a word, she thrust her chair inside, then closed and locked the door. We banged on the door, but were never acknowledged. It was 5 minutes before closing, and by law, we should have been allowed inside. Her racist behavior failed miserably because we'd already voted early. I later told the supervisor of elections I never dreamed that the same voter suppression my parents faced in the 20th century would be my own reality in the 21st. Current voter suppression attempts represent two things to me. First, they are extensions of my 2012 experience, a blatant attempt to silence us through evil means. Secondly, these are the desperate last gasps of white supremacy. The late Congressman John Lewis often said that voting should be as easy as getting this glass of water. Yet some want to deny water to those waiting to vote. But we will never let their desperation stop our determination. Like the prophets of old, we cry aloud and spare not. To guarantee equal participation for all, we demand full restoration of the 1965 Voting Rights Act and the end of the filibuster. For these and our other just demands, the For the People Act and the $15 minimum wage, we will build, we will fight, and we will win. Thank you.
We will build, we will fight, and we will win. If you're joining us, say that right now. We will build, we will fight, and we will win, right? We will build, we will fight, and we will win. That sums it all up. Moral Monday, taking it to the states. We have work to do, but we're doing it. and we're building in states. More than 30 states today took action at U.S. senators' offices, making sure our demands are clear, making sure that our needs are going to be met. And Ms. Neal, behind you, you have a picture of the Edmund Pettus Bridge and folks marching over that bridge. And so I want to remind folks that starting tomorrow, there will be a powerful moral resurrection happening in Texas. We're going to have a Selma to Montgomery style march. It's going to start in Georgetown, Texas, as we heard, and end up in Austin, the state capital. And hundreds, thousands of people from across Texas are going to join that march. Because right now, Texas and Florida and North Carolina and so many states across the country are ground zero for this fight for voting rights, this fight to end the filibuster, this fight for economic justice, this fight to move forward together and not one step back. So please, please, please make sure you tune in tomorrow to watch and to be a part of a powerful moral resurrection in Texas, and then follow that march as we make our way from Georgetown to Austin. Follow us and join us with that car caravan from Georgetown to Austin on Saturday, and a powerful rally where people come together and say, we are fighting this fight in Texas, and we're going to nationalize this state-based movement. And then make sure you come in the numbers on August 2nd to a Moral Monday in Washington, D.C., because we know that when faith leaders and low-wage workers and activists and advocates and people of all walks of life come forward and make these demands clear, we can indeed build the kind of movement it's going to take for us to win by ending the filibuster, passing the For the People Act, restoring the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. We have our marching orders. We're going to keep on moving forward. And so I want to have other folks join me right now, because we are going to move forward together, not one step back. We're going to move forward together, not one step back. We're going to move forward together and not one step back. Join us in Washington, follow us in Texas, and please be that moral resurrection for voting rights, economic justice, defending this democracy, and turning the world upside down as we lift from the bottom so everybody can rise. Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
And one more time. Forward together.
Not one step back.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Battlefield.
See you in the battlefield, as Rob says.
Yeah. Right.
There you go.